School was started in 2011, around 13 years ago, as a way to educate the 160 million Pakistanis who don't know how to read and write even their name. So at that time, I was into videos still, and I wanted to use a stupid phone, the $10 stupid phone, preload it with educational content so that people can just learn how to read and write, at least read in 3 months, using celebrities as teachers. So I wanted to make content which was viral, which was interesting, was not boring, and so I started doing that for a few years. It didn't go anywhere. Then I met the president of Sudan, and he said, "Can you do it for us?" And he suggested we have 23 languages. I was like, I'm not going to do this 23 times. So I thought, how can we do it where everybody can understand? So I thought of Mr. Beans. I thought Mr. Beans can be understood by anyone, or Tom and Jerry can be understood by anyone. So why not create educational content which is so much fun that Mr. Beans do it? So I actually went to see Mr. Beans 3 times. I couldn't find him, couldn't get through his agent. But then somebody said, why don't you do it? So I just did it myself, like Mr. Beans. I made funny videos like Mr. Beans without speaking. And that's all on the YouTube. This is before, there were smartphones. So there was no 4G, there was no 3G, there was 2G time. And there was no YouTube viral content being possible, or Khan Academy didn't exist. So maybe it did, but I didn't know about it. So after some years, I just let it be because it wasn't going anywhere. I tried my best, and slowly we kept creating content, but it wasn't going viral. A few years ago, then I went to Singularity University. I'm very inspired by the work they were doing. I've heard about it, so I went and saw in LA. There was nobody there. I just popped in, went around, and I saw what they're doing, and I like what Ray Kurzweil and Peter has created. So I was like, when I came back, I was like, I think the kids, when they're 10 to 14, they have, or 18 even, they have the most time spare in their lifetime. What if I could make them problem solvers and ask them to study 2 hours a day to solve, or to learn how to solve problems? And back then there was Alexa, there was Google, there was YouTube, but there was no AI. So I just made a video. I wanted to open a small little school, 10 people who can just learn. It didn't happen, but finally, and I kept posting, and I'm looking for a buy to school. I want to buy a school. Around 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I bumped into someone who was selling his school, and I bought the whole school. I never even saw where it was. I just bought it, and the guy was older, and it was a very large building with a very giant auditorium, and I was like, this is beautiful. And I just looked on Google Maps where it is, and I was like, fine, let's do it. So I just bought it, and just let it be for a few months. And then I went back to my idea of creating this system. But when I took over the school, the teachers had never used Facebook. They had never used the computer. The principal was not computer friendly. So I bumped into these problems. So I was running another school already in another town called the Digital Literacy School, which I started around 3.5 years ago. I wanted everyone to, when COVID hit, we created these courses and books on learn basic digital literacy, because if you can't go out, then you can work online at least. So I in COVID, COVID was my most favorite time because I could create content like anything, and I feel like I was literally made for COVID because I've been working on from my home since I'm 13. So I loved it, and I was like, this is my thing. And now people had to go on Zoom, people had to use WhatsApp. Otherwise they're like, can we have a meeting? Can we just do this? Can we do that? Where are you? I'm like, I'm in your phone. Call me. Just, I'm with you all the time. I'm like a genie. So I transferred that guy 2 days a week in this new school, the guy who's running the other school, And then we slowly, for 6-8 months, tried to teach digital literacy to our, to our principal, to our teachers. And it was a very hard job to do. They would just cut off the internet. They would just delete the stuff because they were like, I'm some kind of a CIA agent trying to...
They were literally sabotaging your efforts.
Yes. They thought I'm doing something evil because a lot of people still think Facebook is bad for you, TikTok is bad for you, internet is bad for you because whatever reason, there's somebody just told them. Anything new is always bad. I mean, if you remember a few hundred years ago, people were burning books because it was evil, right? So anything new is always evil for human beings. So I don't know why. So fast forward last year, January, I started teaching. I eventually managed to get a few kids, 10 or 15, online from the school computers, and they would start to talk on the computer. Their parents would allow, and some interesting things also happened. That I went out and laid out my plan that this school ended up being in a slum area, so. One of the biggest problems is they don't have enough money. So their parents earn $100 a month. So, and I was already running another campaign that everybody should earn at least 100,000 rupees a month, which is $300 a month. So I thought, well, these are kids. I wanted them to become a problem solver. Why don't I also teach them how to make money? So I went and started saying, okay, this school will now teach kids how to make 100,000 rupees a month. And there are a lot of poor people in our country, people who don't make enough $300 a month. They make like $100 a month, $50 a month. So a few people actually started migrate to my school, like near my school. So one of the family who lives near the school migrated their kids to my school. Another woman last year brought four of her children to my town, to near the city, near the school, and just said, here, just educate them. And then another guy who was hired initially as a driver, he brought his 6 kids. Now he's one of our teachers at the school. It just took its own life form, I think. And last year, I started another project which is called OLPP, One Laptop Per Pakistani, just like the One Laptop Per Child project. So I want to give now one laptop to every student in my country. So we charge $3 a month. We take a used Chromebook and we put warranty on it, our own warranty. So if you break it, you throw it, you lose it, we give you a new one. It's like insured. And we charge $3 a month. So I started this for my school initially, and I gave every child a laptop. I took some of my money more, give all of them a laptop, and now I started seeing interesting, because now these kids, each of them have their own computer, their typing speeding started to increase, their productivity, the tasks which were given before, they were refusing to do anything on the phone, on the classroom. I don't know if they were refusing or the teachers were refusing or who was refusing, but now they had their own independent machine, and these kids started to produce content. So how do you teach a kid how to use a computer? So I took Canva as a product, because what do you do when you're in nursery school? You give a paper and carry-ons and just paint. So Canva is the same. So you just paint, play with the computer. So the task was to make 3 posts on Canva a day and post it on your Facebook. That took me 7-8 months just to get them to make use of Canva, because I'm sure the kids were smart, but the parents, the teachers, everyone was like, no, don't do this. It's bad for you. All that, it took 7-8 months. And then the content started to emerge. And then I started losing more hair, because they were making me frustrated like anything. I was like, why on earth can't you just make this? We will do it, but they don't do it. They say one thing, but they didn't. Anyhow, last year, March, we gave them all laptops, and I said, let's Canva posts were coming, then I said, now you're going to interview human beings, people. And if you interview, I'll give you 50 rupees, which is like 50 cents. And if you interview in English, I'll give you $1. And now they're like, okay. And you will earn money like this, and then you will pay me installment back for the laptop. That's how you will pay me back for the laptop to start off with, because they have to go to $300 a month. Here they're not even making $10.
Yeah.
So it started to happen. I started paying extra to the teachers, everyone. It just was like excited. Oh, we'll get some money just to interview people, just to talk to people. Then I saw English interviews starting to appear. One of my other students went, my assistant actually went and taught the kids that if you don't understand English, use ChatGPT. ChatGPT came in, by the way, by that time. It was ChatGPT. So you go in, you go to their Facebook, and you see, okay, you want to interview David Orban, you go to their Facebook, you copy everything which is on their Facebook, put it on ChatGPT, and ask ChatGPT to make up 10 questions. Then you ask ChatGPT how to say this in Roman Urdu. So now they can read, it's English, but they're reading in Urdu. When it comes out, it's English, but in their mind, it's Urdu.
The transliteration.
Yeah, Roman, we call it Romanization. Like you wouldn't understand Urdu, but you could read Roman Urdu.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't understand. The kids now are reading Roman English in Urdu, which they don't understand. But my assistant said to them, you just memorize this line, and then you display the question on the screen on StreamYard, and then you say, wow, amazing, fantastic, wow, amazing, fantastic. And these kids started to interview, and some of my friends gave in, and they started giving these interviews. And I was so fascinated because these questions were so amazing. Every time these kids were interviewing, the person didn't know they're coming from ChatGPT, and they're like, wow, what an amazing question. Wow, what an amazing question. It was so fascinating. 100 interviews later, in English, these kids started to speak English. And I started to understand 60-70% of what these people were saying. And these kids are taking now, few 5,000, 7,000 rupees a month home. And I'm like, whoa, that's interesting. I never hired an English teacher. And these kids are actually learning to speak English just like we speak all the other languages. The reason I speak the way I speak English is CNN. Mm-hmm. I was watching it, I was listening to it 3 hours a day, and it turned out that my brain somehow learned it on its own. And that's always been my concept, to immerse yourself in whatever you want to learn. The brain is very smart. It just learns on its own. That's why I have books like these, but I've never read a book, but I just keep them there. Maybe the books will do some magic. So now I have some amazing kids who are brighter, smarter, better than my staff who has been with me for 5 years. These are just 12 to 15-year-old children who are so quick on the IT side, who are so good at the smartphone side. If there's a new AI website, I'll just give them, can you please make a tutorial for me for this? And 3 hours later, I'll have a tutorial about this site. They will be using it, they will be learning it on their own, and they just even make tutorials. So it's like magic started to happen. And I found out that once you have a champion in the school, everybody else follows it. So it's like this 4-minute mile rule, right? So you break a rule once, and everybody else says, it's been done before, so it's possible. So it reinforced my belief that we are all self-limiting creatures. We're constantly limiting ourselves to everything. So I was having a lot of fun with all this, and another of my students popped in, and he was like, I'm very frustrated, I want to stay with you. I said, sure, here's a room, just stay. And then I was traveling, so I moved him to the school building, and he started an online version of the school. He just asked me, can I just start teaching the same online, because a lot of people are coming from other parts of the country. Can I teach them? I said, sure. What should I do? I said, no idea, don't ask me questions, do what you want. Ask ChatGPT. So this guy started doing an online version of the school. Now it's 3 months. And meanwhile, I was just letting these kids be, and they were not good enough to start earning yet. So I went to Qatar, another education conference, met some people, and they told me that there was a London conference. So I came for the London conference. And when I went back from Qatar, my vision started to change. That I think I can do much more than this $100 or $400 a month. These kids are very interesting. So when I went to London, I met some people again, and they said, "Why don't you open one in London?" And I said, "Who will let me do all this crazy stuff in London? Because in my school, I don't teach chemistry, no biology, no physics, no maths. The STEM is out. Everything is out. Just AI is in, computers is in, meditation is in, yoga is in, exercise is in, games are in. We have now a Minecraft game room. We have then I have a guy who's an amazing creator, and he makes beautiful looking rooms. So we don't have rooms like rooms. We have a classroom. We have like one of the classroom looks like a spaceship. One of the classroom looks like United Nations. One of the classrooms look like you're in the future in AI or something. It's like weird looking rooms, and they're like so cool. And you go in, you're like, you immerse yourself in these spaces. Like it turns you on in learning mood. And then so it's been a very interesting year and a half of experimentation. Then the London thing. So I met this guy who took me to another team, and there was a woman who wanted to enroll her son in my school. I was like, And then I started researching. It turned out that $1,800 a month in London. In Pakistan, I'm charging like what, $3 a month. I'm like, there's a business opportunity right there. I need to do something. Even if I charge 10% what they're charging here, and I do it online, I can get like 20 students. I can run my whole school in Pakistan. I was like, ooh, interesting. So I started a London version of the school, and made another team who was fluent in English, who can cater to the London market. And we have started now a London version of the school, and we refined the idea more. So now we have an 8-year school program. You get your kid in as what it's called the 5th grade. First year is the fundamentals. We teach AI, computers, ChatGPT. Annie came in, who Annie's a phenomenal AI, which you can just talk about anything and she speaks back. She doesn't get tired. She doesn't get angry. And by speaking half an hour a day with her, you become friends with her, and then your English becomes amazing because now you're talking to an American all the time. So we teach this, and then we teach the interview thing. Each kid has to do like one interview a day, and meditation, yoga, all that cool stuff. 6th grade, we give them a wala. A wala is, like you have Sabo, you have in Hungarian, somebody, Peter Sabo, like you're the tailor. So same thing, or goldsmith, for example, or ironsmith. So in Urdu, we have a wala. Wala means this is like I'm Allah, God, wala. So I'm God wala. I'm like selling God, or I'm belonging to God. It can be used for both terms. So we started giving these names to kids to identify them, because like they're like 5 Imrans. How can you, which Imran are we talking about? So we start giving them, okay, you're going to work for the next 10 years. Remember, that's why I made the school, so I can take their time, extra time, to make them a specialist. So now we are making each of the kid a specialist in one wala: water, electricity, climate change, biogas, anything, any problem in Pakistan. We have a 100 problem list. You have to take a new last name when you join our school, and now you join it for 8 years. First year is just fundamentals. We don't teach you anything special, but the second year you become a wala, and that's all you learn for the rest of the 7 years. So year 2, you have to earn $100 a month, which is more than your dad already. And when you earn $100 a month, 50% goes to the school, 50% goes to you. We don't charge fees. and you have to watch one TED Talk every day of your wala. So if you're a water wala, you have to watch one TED Talk about water. You have to listen to it, you have to understand it, and you have to explain it in English and in Urdu, and then you tag the original speaker. So if they actually heard David Orban, they're going to say, hey, Mr. David Orban, this is what I learned from you. Can I interview you for half an hour? So they're learning and they're giving feedback to the original TED Talk speaker, and they're connecting with them on LinkedIn and Facebook, on Twitter, and interviewing them if the person gives. They do it 200 times a year on the same wala. So imagine a child interviewing 200 water specialists in just 1 year. What is he becoming now? And his network is now full of water walas, and AI of Facebook, AI of LinkedIn is suggesting, here's another wala, here's another water wala, here's another water wala. Just connect with them. And now their network is becoming phenomenal. And they are also becoming phenomenal because they're just focused on one problem. They're not learning maths or science or blah, blah, blah. Second thing they do every day is they have to make an AI-based video on the wala. So they have to now make a video on water using AI. So they go to ChatGPT, they discuss with it. So it suggests a script. They make us use the script, goes to text to speech. They convert the text to voice. These are 12-year-old kids, 10-year-old kids. And then they go to Canva and YouTube and mix the content and produce every single day a 2-minute documentary on a problem in water. That's task 2. Task 1 was TED Talk. Task 2 was now to interview a human being. Task 3 is to make a video, and that's it. That's all they do. And yes, number 4, now they have to learn freelancing, because now in 6th grade they have to earn $100 a month. In order to go to 7th grade, they have to make $100 a month. In 7th grade, they do everything the same, but they're now more mature, more better, more quality. They've been freelancing for 1 year. They become phenomenal at it. So now they have to make $300 a month. At 8th grade, or level 4, they now have to make $500 a month, because now they're more mature, they know more water walas or whatever walas, they're known and famous, and they have like thousands of followers already, and they start a startup. So now they start a startup which is related to their wala. They have hundreds of friends who are in that space. They have ChatGPT who's telling, this is the business you should start. And that business has to be a digital version of it, not a physical version of it. And then they work on that business for 4 years, and then they exit the business for $1 million at least. So in 4 years, you started at 8th grade, and by the 12th grade, you have $1 million in your bank account. If you don't, stay in the school till you get $1 million. You're not leaving the school till you get $1 million. How do you get $1 million valuation? Again, you have AI, you have all the brains in the world in your pocket. You have a team of other 3 kids who are also the same wala. You have me, you have my network, you have your own water network. Within that network, there's everything: problem, solution, money, everything right there. And you just have to just put it all together. So that's now Rehan School. So the goal is to at least create 1,000 Malalas, 1,000 Greta Thunberg, 1,000 millionaires, at least, who would actually go out there and solve the problems. And when I think about it, I can be an immigrant in the U.S. and I can wake up one day and say, I'll be a governor of California. And I don't need training for that. And I can just go and enroll myself, and I can screw up the country. Just because if I'm a good speaker or I'm famous, I could be the governor. But I had no training on how to be a governor, or how to be a leader, or how to be a connector, or how to network together. Just like in our country, a cricketer came up to become the prime minister. He had no training. So I was thinking, why can't we train Obamas? Why can't we make Clintons? Why can't we make Elon Musk? Why can't we make Steve Jobs? What makes Steve Jobs? What makes a Malala? So I think this will make a Malala. So if you just learn about one problem for 10, 20 years, that's who you become. That's what you're trained for. Just like you become a cricketer, a doctor, a surgeon, an accountant. You become a water expert, you become a climate change expert, you become anything you want to be, but you focus on one thing. and you start early. You start at age 8 and you end up at age 18. By the age 18, you already have $1 million. You already have a name. You already have a brand. People know you. You have a huge YouTube video content. You become what I become at 50, at age of 18. It's like that's what Rehan School is basically so far. And now I started another branch with a friend, and he just made a video the other day, like anybody who is over 10 years of age and wants to come and study with us, you can study with us, but you have to enroll in grade 5. So you can be an MBA, but you have to come back and study at grade 5 again. If you're ready, we will teach you. So I was like, I think the world is changing and all of us need to really relearn everything all over again. So why don't I make another vertical just for adults and kids together? And this can be a school of lifelong learning. So that's something which I will do next, so that, because I burned a lot of money in the last 3 years trying to teach adults for 3 months and 6 months, it doesn't work. I think 1 to 2 years is unlearning part. And that's when the learning part starts. Unlearning takes so much more time. And when the children, I'm happy that there's not too much unlearning, but there's unlearning for their parents, unlearning for their friends, unlearning for their aunties and aunts, which is a big part of our community thing. And so yeah, I think the kids are amazing. Now the adults, I also need adults to fix problems. So think I'm going to start an adult version of the school, same premises, same everything. So we have now like 3 physical branches. We have 150 or odd students. 2 years in, and an online version which is running 4 classes a day, every day right now.